Go out into the world and teach them what they need to know for life. That was what Julie Billiard asked of her sisters of Notre Dame de Namur 205 years ago. It's the mission more than 1,600 of us continue to live today, and the reason we came to Arizona. Sisters Mary Lucille, James Marie, Ignatius Marie, Dolores, and Eleanor Francis were the first to arrive from the Ohio province in Cincinnati. It was an especially hot day in August 1950. We stepped off the train and headed straight to Glendale, to Our Lady of Perpetual Help, which was a mission church for the Mexican families in the neighborhood. It didn't have a school at the time. Within 3 weeks, we started our first school in Arizona with 167 children from the Glendale neighborhood. 3 years later, the second group of our sisters arrived in what was then called Sunny Slope. In short order, the four helped start a second Notre Dame school in Arizona called Most Holy Trinity. We taught kindergarten through the 8th grade.
What I gained from being taught by the Sisters of Notre Dame has been giant steps in my life, I think. They had compassion. They believed in you as an individual and as a human being. The best way I can describe it is they were walking in God's footsteps.
What the sisters did was shape us. They meant everything to us. We knew they cared about us, and it was the highest definition of unconditional love.
One of the sisters at Most Holy Trinity was Dot Stang, although she was known as Sister Mary Joachim at the time. Her students thought the world of her, probably because she cared so much for them and was so passionate about their education and future.
I went with Sister Dorothy Stang for 6 years, every single Friday, to teach, to help with the migrant workers. She showed us such an appreciation for a human being.
From as early as she could remember, Sister Dorothy wanted to be a missionary. And so, after 14 years, she left her beloved Phoenix and joined our sisters in Brazil to work with poor farmers and their families in the rainforest. Then, over the next 40 years, she built schools, churches, and communities of faith. She taught sustainable farming and child nutrition and helped to protect poor Brazilian farmers and their land from illegal loggers and developers. 5 years ago, Sister Dot was murdered. 2 gunmen hired by influential landowners shot her 6 times. She has since been proclaimed a martyr by the Catholic Church. The assassins wanted to stop her work on behalf of poor Brazilian families, but that never happened. Our educational work continues in Phoenix, 60 years after those first days in Glendale, but it doesn't always take place in a typical classroom.
This is St. Julie Education Center. This is a very small educational project that Sister Olivia and I have begun a few months ago in order to offer some services to the adults in the East Valley here in Phoenix. We have begun with English classes. We also have literacy classes in Spanish, and we've offered document preparation service for some clients in which we help them fill out their papers and translate for them their marriage certificates and birth certificates and all of the things that they need to process their documents. And we're hoping to be able to add GED classes, study for citizenship, and computer classes, and any other things that we find out that would be helpful to our adult students here in the Valley. We think that this is a real continuation of what St. Julie has asked us to do, which is to teach people what they need for life, and also a continuation of what our sisters came to do in Arizona, which is particularly to help the Hispanic population.
The sisters are teaching me.
You will also find us as pastoral leaders in hardworking barrio neighborhoods. St. Martin de Porres is a good example.
St. Martin de Porres Parish is very much the heart of this community. The people in this community built this church actually years and years ago because it's right here in their community, and they love the church, and the church goes out to them also. One of our many important ministries here is 3 groups of communion ministers take communion to the homebound. These people long for communion. When they can't come, they call, and they ask us to please send someone with the Eucharist. God is good to us. He has lifted up ministers to help in this important ministry. We have a number of sacramental preparation classes in English and Spanish. We meet in the evenings. One of the favorites of all the kids is this one, where they come to learn to say the Rosary.
Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners now and at the hour of our death. Amen.
Our reach is expanded through our Notre Dame AmeriCorps members. These are recent college graduates who give a year or 2 of service, working alongside the Sisters of Notre Dame. They can be found teaching developmentally disabled children in schools where resources are stretched to the limit, or tutoring students who need a little extra help in reading, math, and science.
Part of the mission of the Sisters of Notre Dame is to teach kids and individuals what they need to know for life.
You can also find them running after-school programs in a public housing complex and listening to the dreams of doctors, firefighters, and astronauts. These days in Arizona, we are blessed to see the goodness of God in the faces of our 3rd generation of students. The need continues. The work goes on. Our mission is as vibrant as ever.
They gave us an incredible value to life.
They gave us that gift of giving to others.
I personally don't know what the world would be like without the Sisters of Notre Dame, because I know what they've done in my life.
They meant everything to us. They still do. They still do.